hear this very often.
I am not ready yet. I need another certificate to have my program launch. I need to have this perfect so everything looks exactly how it needs to be. I need a confirmation, blah, blah.
In my opinion, that's not humility. That is imposter syndrome.
That affects many of us.
Creators, entrepreneurs, business owners, academics, especially high-performing women. In this video, I'm gonna show you a very practical way on how to avoid imposter syndrome in a way that you channel it actually the other way around, in doing so, it can work on your favor. It's very simple and very effective. Actually, I promise you, because I happen to suffer sometimes from imposter syndrome myself, so I had to find ways to make it work for me, so it's actually good. Research shows that imposter syndrome works in a very interesting way in your brain, because the more you're capable of doing something, the more you are doubting or imagining that you know something specific about the next step. It feels that the self-doubt comes subconsciously for your brain to unlock its own potential. So it seems that this self-doubt is actually what you really need to overcome your fear and do something. In other words, you kind of need this self-doubt to know that you are expanding, that know that you are growing, that know that, you can do this. So if we think about this, you need this kind of imposter syndrome. You need to be aware of it, and then you need to find out ways to turn it around and actually use it as a tool for you to do more great things. That's what we are going to do. So what is the logic behind? The logic behind is simply that confidence is not a prerequisite for action, is the result of action. And that is a very important insight if you think about it. The more you do something, the more you are something, right? The actions actually become what you really are. And then you really believe it. So it's the other way around. You don't have to believe it first. That is actually an identity problem, which I find fascinating. Like, the stuff that you really need to analyze from yourself is exactly what you need to point out in order to grow. So in a clear example, when you have a clear idea, you simply know where to go. And then you know that that's the right way. You feel it. You need to move forward. But then something inside you says, maybe it's not the right time. Maybe it's not good. Maybe I'm not good enough, blah, blah, blah. What's the problem? When those beliefs or those ideas come too much, too quick, and you stop seeing and believing in that idea, then they become the answer and the only thing you see. So the right point is to really stop the overthinking process and just take it like in a moment of pause, like, okay, that's what can happen, but come back to your original idea when you really believe that that's going to work, and simply do it and try in an easy going way, It's just simply don't overthink. Just try more, maybe baby steps. But I know that sometimes that's not so easy, right? Because you feel, okay,
what people are going to say about me, what is going to happen, social media, what is going to happen, many things, blah, blah.
So in the end, you surround yourself by an incredible infinite amount of doubts, self-doubts that really stop you. So that's what we are trying to avoid. That's what really need to avoid. Find mechanisms for you to act in a more connected way to your heart, to be brave and do it, because it is inside you. I know it, you know it, so you can try and simply, what's going to happen? Nothing. So only good things, because you learn from doing. So this is a practice. What are we going to do? As I mentioned, confidence comes from action. And sometimes you have done many things, but you don't register them. You don't celebrate your wins. You forget what you have done. And I think that's a missing opportunity. So the first most fundamental step to avoid, stop imposter syndrome is by registering what you have done well in a systematic or frequent way. If we start what I call the evidence journal, is simply a daily practice where you ask yourself at night before you go to bed 3 questions. What went well during the day? What did you do that, felt good? There's like, yeah, that was okay, I did that. Or what did you decide that went well? A good decision that you felt, yeah, that's aligned with my vision, that was nice, I like it. Or simply a small, tiny action with a lot of courage. Sometimes we need that, This vision is sometimes too abstract, so when you actually get going and do something, you posted your first YouTube video, you did more posts on Instagram, you created a new offer, you have a new client, you simply went there to a networking event and introduced yourself in a nice way. That's cool. Just small celebrations that really help. But register them. Just write them. That's the first step. Second thing is how to stop overthinking process. That is massive. And sometimes it's really hard to, you get this mental overload, and then, last week I released this video about how to stop the mental load. So this will be similar, but not exactly the same, because when you really overthink too much one idea, then the moment to really stop thinking about it is when you really don't see the clear step where to go. So in my opinion, the only way to really stop that is meditation. For me, that's been the answer. Like, mindfulness exercises have honestly been the key for me to stop overthinking process and connect with this spirituality that is really deep inside me. So I has always said the answer is not in the outside world, it's only in yourself, is your heart. And honestly, this is also my key to not care about what people really say too much about, if they don't like my things. So it's like, I just know that some people like, and I like to work with them, and that's okay. So even if someone doesn't like your post or doesn't like what you do, and if they talk about it, that's actually good, Bad publicity is better than no publicity. So keep talking, it's fine. I really don't mind, because one thing, if people say something that is not nice about you, and that's just words, but you prove yourself otherwise with your actions, and that's what matters. That's what people see. People see the kindness in your heart because you talk from your truth. You talk with your eyes open, without absolutely no bad feeling or bad conscience about it. And that's what matters. You're doing things with a bigger vision, for something greater, for something better. And that drives you. I know many kind leaders that really need this powerful advice just to go there, just to show the world what they can do. And that's why we are here, to build more confident, happy leaders that make the world a better place, simply because the world needs it. That's it. So the last piece of advice of this practical daily journal or daily activity is actually act before you feel ready. I know that sounds a bit counterintuitive, a bit weird, but that clearly is like cure, if you call it, or a painkiller against perfectionism. I think perfectionism can be a really nasty, evil, or you call it like a villain in our story, that it stops us from doing things. And you should really stop it. Like, when you feel that something is going to be perfect like that, just launch it before, 80% before. When you feel that it's really not, exactly, just like a sake of it. Try to imagine, and for that understanding, the Parkinson law is a great tool. Parkinson law is a great mechanism to understand how perfectionism works. Because Parkinson law tells you that when you have a task, you can allocate X amount of time to do it as good as you can in that time. And that's really good. Whereas if you say, if I have a task, I just don't have any limited time, you just let it free, then you won't end this task, because your brain is going to tell you, you need more, because this is perfectionism going on, saying like, it can be better. So in most of the cases, actually, already for what you believe is in the 50%, is already good enough to launch. But you really need to push yourself until the 100 to create an amount of pressure and work that is really not, relevant in the end of the day. Just launch, as you feel that is okay, it's good enough to survive. Let's try. Keep on, keep moving on, and then you will see that it's a bit more relaxed, a bit more, happy, and you feel better with yourself. I think perfectionism is really not ideal, in my opinion. Why? I honestly think people need more leaders that believe in themselves and connected with their heart. And I know many people, at least in my community, when they feel that they cannot move, I really want to boost their confidence to really get into action, because what they do is just an amazing, incredible project in most of the cases that the world needs. So believe in yourself by doing, by registering what you do. And the world needs more action, conscious, mindful action, not perfect action, just real, connected action. So thank you so much for watching, for sharing, for subscribing if you haven't done so, and keeping inspired. See you next time.